Hello and welcome to this video. Thank you very much for subscribing, for those who have subscribed and returning viewers. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. I'd like to talk about an underrated area of work, and for those who want to actually seek sponsorship opportunities to the United Kingdom, and this is in the educational sector. Very not so much spoken about, and perhaps because the sponsorship opportunities are fewer and they are not perhaps as much as those in the National Health Service, for instance, for nurses, for instance, or healthcare workers. This is another growing area, and I believe that if you go to .gov.uk site, you'll find that professionals are being looked for within the educational sector. In the educational sector, there's the area of special needs educational. For people to work with people who have young people and children who have special needs, for instance, such as autism and other learning disabilities, both moderate, mild, and severe. I'm going to just read out a few of the areas or job roles that people can actually work in and apply for. We have the behavior support teachers who actually work in the classrooms or in schools to actually support the behavior of the young person and that's primary or secondary schools, to help them with their behavior, to help role model their behavior. And very often that will be through play opportunities that will be carefully drawn through a care plan after observing the young person or the child in a nursery setting or school. So you will support the teachers with that behavior support for that specific young person or child. Then you have learning support teachers and learning support assistants. These are very often found mostly in special needs schools, and in one special needs schools, one class can have as many as 2 to actually 5 support workers, depending on the size. It might be not be as high as 5, but generally it could be as many as 3 in one classroom. These are the ones who support the teachers with the learning, the care plan that is drawn, and the learning plan that is drawn for that specific young person or child. You will work either on a one-to-one basis or perhaps a two-to-one basis, depending on the child's need. Then you have special needs teachers who are the trained and qualified teachers who will actually work to actually teach children in settings in special schools. Let me just mention that mainstream schools will also very often have learning support workers and teaching assistants there as well, to help children with things such as subjects such as maths, to help them with reading, and to just support the teacher with the child's learning. These are very vital roles here in the United Kingdom, and there's levels of shortages because it can be quite stressful, and also generally speaking, the hours are not as long as working in a day nursery, but you can work in a school. For instance, school starts at 9 a.m. here and finishes at 3. Very often you may be required to be there as early as 8 or 8:30, and you may finish at 3:30 or maybe 4 p.m. depending on the school and the school's need. Some teachers may require you to sit with them and draw up the plans, and that may be a couple of times a week, or you might be called to meet the teachers up and to actually work with them, to actually draw plans and revisit the child's plans and needs and so forth. You have higher learning assistants. Higher learning assistants are generally trained to a higher level than, say, a learning or a classroom assistant. They are both assistants in classrooms, but you might find that they require a bit more qualifications. For instance, they may require you to have obtained your GCSE or O levels and A levels as well. Whether that's, you could have done that from abroad, it doesn't really matter, as long as it is the equivalent and you come with that qualification to the United Kingdom. It could be that they'll be able to recognize it. Higher learning support assistants also have the opportunity to train as teachers. So when you get a role as a teaching assistant or a classroom assistant or a higher learning assistant, some schools actually offer the opportunity for you to train up as a teacher. Now, I work as a nursery nurse here in the United Kingdom, and that is mainly in nursery daycare settings. For those of you who have watched my other videos, I may have mentioned it. I have the opportunity to train as a teacher, but that is not an option that I've taken. Again, there's also opportunities for you to go forward in social services. For instance, you could train as a social worker, or you could work as a family support worker. So these roles are kind of interlinked and intertwined, because they expect you, and you gain your experience with families, you gain your experience with children, you gain your experience with special needs children, and you can go on that way to actually work with young people as a social worker, to work specifically, maybe even specializing in social worker for those families that have special needs, disability social worker, or social worker that works with families as well. So really, gathering from this, what I'd like to just bring forth is that these are opportunities that people can look at to actually apply for sponsorships. However, I just want to caution people against looking at sponsorships from people that they know, or somebody introduces themselves and says they have a company, they can give you sponsorships. It is best to actually go for sponsorships for companies that are valid, because this is going to cost you far less. Secondly, you at least are guaranteed that you're going through a valid route, that you will not have immigration issues down the line. It's really, really important, especially in the era now of the immigration rules changing constantly, and then bringing up the 10-year route to ILR and so forth. Not everybody that comes to work on a sponsorship wants to go on to apply for ILR, and that is anybody's individual choice. I just wanted to bring up this topic today, because I think it is very underrated, and the jobs are really fulfilling, honestly. If you present yourself well as a professional, and I've seen very unprofessional behaviors working as a nursery nurse. I've seen people coming from abroad, and I'm not going to mention countries or anything, and I've seen behaviors which I'd actually want to perhaps call that person and say, look, don't do that specific behavior, or don't behave in a specific way. Working with children in a nursery setting or anywhere does not involve you just sitting around and looking at them, being silent. You've got to actually engage with the children, fully engage with the children. You've got to speak with them. You've got to just fully, and anything else that you're required to do. It's, I'm seeing a lot of people coming into the field that I don't know whether they are so desperate to recruit in this field that people are just being recruited. I don't know what sort of training some people are having, even through agencies, for instance, before they actually come for these roles. But I'd really like to not say much about it at this point, because I think it's a topic by itself that specific behaviors can actually be addressed in. If you've got qualifications and you're in any other country, African country or wherever, and you'd like to come to UK via these routes, if you're a nursery teacher already, if you've worked with children already, this can be an opportunity for you. Again, I'm just presenting what is out there, a genuine opportunity for those who actually want to look into it. So if you're new to this channel, thank you so much for watching. If you've watched up to now, don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of topics that will be coming up. My channel is evolving. It's initially started as a parenting channel. It's not that old a channel, it's relatively new. However, I believe that it's evolving for me to actually bring these other topics and to speak about immigration, to speak about work opportunities, work culture, and behavior codes and so forth. Generally speaking, a lifestyle blog, really. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.